is WeatherScope.
Well, the southeast has quieted down after a night of storms and heavy rain. Just a few thunderstorms remain, and we find them in Florida. Now, they have diminished quite a bit. Good afternoon and welcome to WeatherScope. I'm Marnie Stanier.
And I'm Jill Brown. We'll take a look at that radar in just a moment. We'll see if there's anything left there. It's also going to be a little wet in the Great Lakes. We'll look at that, and we'll start you down south and work north. Here it is, the Sunshine State, and that time of year when folks are flocking to Florida. Can't wait to get down here to get a little bit of sun. Now, this is not a perfect picture. There's no doubt about that. We have a little bit of rain around Fort Lauderdale, Miami. I just checked the latest observations and couldn't really find anything, so some of this may not be reaching the ground. We had some thunder showers earlier, and I think you can just barely see that's the last of the line, and it diminished. So we don't have any thunderstorms. As a matter of fact, there you can prove it. There's your lightning data. We had a huge line early this morning, and it slowly diminished as it was heading down to the south, and now no lightning strikes showing up anywhere. So not to worry about that any longer. We're in good shape. A little bit of rain perhaps around Myrtle Beach, Wilmington, up toward Cape Hatteras. Tomorrow may be a better day as we get rid of some of the constant clouds. We may end up with a few thunderstorms, but will you trade off, get a little sun and a few thunderstorms? We right now have overcast skies from Virginia right down through South Carolina. Around Augusta it's cloudy. Atlanta, it's beautiful and sunny. Nashville looks great as well. Even behind this front, it's not really very cold yet. However, things are about to change. We will have temperatures gradually dropping over the next few days, and we could be talking snow down here into the southern Appalachians and maybe over the border into North Georgia by, say, Sunday night into Monday, something like that. We'll extend the forecast coming up. So nothing to worry about at the moment. Temperatures are terrific this afternoon. It's going to be a nice Friday evening out. Orlando, 81. Miami's cooled off a little bit. That tells us that there probably are some rain showers around, at least a few clouds, because it was in the low 80s. Boston, 51 degrees at this hour. And Philadelphia, leave work early today at 62 degrees. Very nice Friday evening for you. Wind chills are just fine. They were in the 20s, but they've been warming up as well. Winds actually are fairly light. We have all this warm air being brought up from the south. So today, like yesterday, it's warmer than average in the east. Haven't seen any record highs yet, but won't completely rule it out yet. Meanwhile, on the backside of this area of low pressure, colder air is coming in, so you can see we have a lot more snow on the map now across Minnesota than we had earlier. So for the most part, this is rain, and most of it in Wisconsin is rain, although La Crosse reporting a rain-snow mix now in Minneapolis. You've changed over to snow. Take a look at some scenes from Minneapolis. It was a ugly start to the day. Rainy and cold. Temperatures have been in the 30s, but now that colder air is seeping in. So it's 34 degrees and it's snowing. That's not too bad considering it's still above freezing, so chances are the roads are still likely to be like this, just kind of damp out there. But some changes coming up with colder air. It's getting into Minnesota first, but that's not where it's going to stop. We'll talk about your forecast in a moment. Marnie?
That's right. Another dry day, though, on tap for those of you in California, and snow, wind, and frigid temperatures continue in the northern plains. Let's check out now the weather pattern. We'll show you what we have going on in the west. A change in the pattern. It looks like it. The El Nino setup changing slightly. Let's show you what we mean on the picture here. We do have, up until now, we've had a typical El Nino pattern where the storms ride in along the northern branch of the jet stream and drop to the south, but the ridge is now building and the storms will now move up and over the ridge of high pressure. So where they were plowing into California, they will now, most of the moisture will be pushed more to the north. So California should stay dry, although there will continue to be some showers across the northwest. So let's check out current temperatures and show you 19 now in Minot. It's 47 in Chi-Town, 33 in Des Moines. A changeover just occurred in Minneapolis from rain to snow. Temperature there is 34. And when you factor in the winds that are blowing here, it feels like 14 below in Minot, 10 below in Rapid City. And, you know, in Rapid City, you've had winds gusting to 50 and 60 miles an hour today. So the winds are quite strong around the backside of this area of low pressure. There's the surface low, and again, behind it, it's cold, it's snowing. The snow is blowing around. We have blizzard conditions for some parts of the Dakotas, Montana, Wyoming. Please drive carefully. A rainy, windy, cold day across the Great Lakes. Watch it heading across the Mackinac Bridge. Again, this surface low spinning right here. On the west side of this, it's all snow, and those winds are howling. Check out the snowfall totals. Lead, South Dakota at the top of our list. Almost 50 inches of snow. Unbelievable. Snow drifts are tremendous. Galena, South Dakota, 18 for as far as the snowfall rainfall amounts go, and Chadron 14. So there's our storm, and it doesn't look like it's going to be moving very much over the next 24 to 48 hours. Again, high pressure is building in the west, and that's good news for folks in California who certainly need a break. The only warning I saw for flooding today was coming in out of the Clear Lake area near Ukiah, and that's not because of rain today or yesterday, but because of all the rain you had over the past couple of weeks. The ground was so saturated, and that runoff is still occurring there. So we've been scrolling that information for you on your screen all morning and afternoon. 29 degrees currently in Salt Lake City, and the blizzard warnings are no longer in effect there. 38 in Spokane, 44 in Seattle. Wind chills down to 15 below in Williston, with that cold, snowy weather continuing for a good part of the weekend, unfortunately. Let's see how it looks for you. Friday forecast, well, as we head on into the early evening hours, if you want to head outside in Atlanta, Georgia, go down to Virginia Highlands, it's going to be pretty for that. High pressure building in, drier weather. Not a great day to head out, though, night to head out in Minneapolis, Bismarck, or Fargo. Travel certainly could be tough in many locations, so we want you to be careful. The weather going downhill slightly in the northwest with a weak storm moving on shore. Again, this is not going to be a huge, powerful storm, just some showery weather with snow in the higher terrain. Overnight lows tonight dropping to the single digits and even sub-zero readings across parts of the Intermountain region. But hey, how about that for folks in Florida? Not too bad, pretty comfortable for folks who are gearing up for spring break activities. Overnight lows only in the 60s and 70s, 40s and 50s across most of the deep south. And there you have it, Jill.
Well, I was saying that we have a little bit of snow coming up in the forecast. It wasn't on that forecast, so you'll have to stick around till about 20 after for the full 5-day forecast, and then we'll talk snow in the deep south.
All right. We hope you'll stay with us. If you're getting a jump start on the weekend, we'll tell you what to expect in the weather for travelers.
Stay tuned. Travel Live is coming up after your local forecast.
It can be harsh, uncomfortable, and it can upset a diaper's delicate pH. It's wetness, and it can be rough on delicate skin. Pampers Baby Dry can help. It turns the blue liquid clear as it lowers the pH and helps keep skin dry and healthy by pulling wetness away. Pediatricians know it's important to control pH, and more of them recommend Pampers. Help protect their skin from wetness with Pampers Baby Dry. Pamper the skin they're in.
Morning, George. George Jr., George Sr.
Hi. Hey, morning.
Like to see how your cereals stack up to Total?
Sure.
Hope you're hungry. To get the vitamins in one bowl of Total, you'd have to eat 2 bowls of cornflakes.
Eat up, son.
You'd need 4 bowls of Raisin Bran.
And a really big spoon.
10 bowls of shredded wheat for you.
What's so funny? Nothing.
Nice bowl.
Total has 100% of 10 vitamins and minerals in just 1 bowl.
We'll take the Total. And give Junior the check.
Total Raisin Bran, Total Cornflakes. 1 bowl, 100%.
It's Sunday, a time to bring those who are far away close, and those who are close, closer still. That's why MCI presents 5 Cent Sundays. 5 cents a minute, every Sunday. And now you can also use your MCI card to phone home on Sundays for 5 cents a minute. To enroll, call 1-800-SUNDAYS.
When you're on the go, get reliable forecasts from the Weather Channel through these sources. And now your local forecast.
This WeatherScope is sponsored by Midas Auto Systems Experts. What can we do for you today?
This is WeatherScope.
Well, good afternoon to you. Thanks for joining us here at the Weather Channel. I'm Rich Johnson here with Janetta Jones, still covering our blizzard across the plains, and those blizzard warnings will go into tonight. Janetta, you're going to tell us about a rather nice day in the east.
Yeah, it is a pretty nice day in a lot of locations. Let's look at our satellite vantage point first of all, and you can see that in the southeast things are looking a little bit nicer than what we saw yesterday. We do have some cloudiness moving on into parts of Louisiana and Alabama and Mississippi, but nothing compared to what you saw yesterday and last night with the heavy rainfall and the severe weather. Today we are talking about a beautiful spring day. A day to get out and enjoy all of those new flowers that are blooming out there and enjoy the nice temperatures too. Now we do have a front that's hanging around, and we do have some scattered showers in South Florida, but we do not anticipate the severe weather being a big problem anymore. Now as we look at the current surface map, we can show you that front that's going to be hanging out here for a couple of days, and we have our upper low hanging back in parts of Texas. Not really producing that much in the way of rainfall at the moment, but as it continues to march eastward, we're going to see it interacting with this old frontal boundary, and we may see some problems a little bit later on tomorrow, and we'll talk about that further in our forecast. Now we take you on into the upper Midwest, and we'll talk about some rain wrapping around this low. Yes, we still have snow, and yes, it has changed over to snow in parts of Minnesota, but earlier this morning this is what it looked like in the Twin Cities. As you were traveling to work, you had to deal with the rain-slick roadways and the dreary conditions. And by the way, temperatures were in the 30s, the upper 30s. So you had to bundle up and deal with the rain as well. So sort of a double whammy for you. And now the rain has changed over to snow. So you're getting yet a different kind of weather to deal with. As we look out across the Great Lakes, we can tell you about some scattered showers. Traveling in or out of Detroit, you may see some on again, off again showers. Chicago, same story for you. And as you look at the satellite vantage point, you can see our area of low pressure, the moisture wrapping around that low, and we are going to be talking about how this low has weakened significantly compared to what we were looking at just a few days ago. But we still have the pretty nasty weather to the west of that low, and I'll let Rich tell you more about that. To the east of the low, hey, it's not a bad day in Boston. 50 degrees. Hey, looks pretty good. If you're heading out to Central Park, a good day to play hooky. In Philly, with a temperature of 61 right now, yeah, that looks pretty good to me. 58 in Washington, D.C. So for the most part, a fairly decent day across the southeast and parts of northern New England. But things are going to be changing, and we'll talk more about that in your forecast. Now, let's look at the west. Here's Rich.
Thank you, Janetta. Here's the west, and we have a different weather pattern. Certainly about time. We have had over the past number of weeks, if not a couple months now, it seems, the storms crashing into California. Well, the pattern's changed where the storms are being steered farther to the north due to a bit of a ridge building off the coast. Into the west, what does this look like? You know what? Not much in the way of clouds. This all here is snow on the ground. We do have some of those high cirrus clouds, and if you look very closely across Nevada, you can see some of these streaking from Oregon right on down across Nevada. This is snow on the ground. So we have snow, of course, over to Salt Lake where we had the big storm. And we are from the Mogollon Rim, Arizona, northward into Montana. Farther to the east, though, out across the plains, yes, we have snow on the ground, but still a lot of that is falling out of the clouds today. Here's the latest current conditions, high pressure across the west. The snowpack in the west, I was checking some of the locations in Washington State, running around 100% normal this year. So essentially that just means the average snowfall just about average this year, nothing really too heavy or too light across the region. Farther east, we do have the snow stretching across the plains, the weather pattern getting a bit cooler, and very interesting that the lows this morning is still quite mild through the plains, 5-10 degrees above average, and it was still well cold enough for snow. 19 right now at Williston, just a touch of Arctic air out across the northern plains, otherwise it is not that cold. Wind chills are even lower. Minus 18 still at Williston. It appears it's been minus 18 for a few hours, so pretty cold outside across the Dakotas, with the snow continuing to fly out across areas of North Dakota southward. Even looking at some of the precip now trying to make its way over toward Kansas City. I suspect a large part of this still not reaching the ground, maybe an occasional snowflake or two, but that's about it. Into Arizona, we do have some rain. Some of this also not reaching the ground because of the dry air, but the mountains are seeing some snow. Some of the valleys picking up light rain. This all heading out toward Lubbock and up to around Amarillo. With more about the forecast, here's Janetta.
All right, let's talk about later this afternoon. We think we're going to see that possibility of showers continuing here across the Great Lakes and on into Buffalo and even into Pittsburgh, so the Parkway West might get a little bit slick. Look for snow on the back edge to persist, so blizzard-like conditions are highly likely. You know, with those winds gusting up to 30, even 40 miles per hour, you don't even have to have any new snow falling to get the blowing and the drifting when you've got about 30, 40 inches on the ground. Oh my goodness, what a mess.